für die 5090 und 2,70 für die 4090. Schieben wir mal noch auf. Guckt so an, ich habe da so eine schöne Szene, da spiegelt das und da dampft das und da ist Licht aus allen Ecken und die kleinen Strahlen, die springen alle im Quadrat und haben so ihr kleines Vergnügen mit Friendship und natürlich DLSS 4 mit Multi-Frame-Gen. Also jetzt haben wir alles zusammen, die das auch wirklich bieten und vor allem in den Genres, wo ich mit den Latenzen keine Probleme habe, die steigen natürlich etwas an. Habe ich auch gemessen, ich habe auch die ganze Taktgeschichte, passt sich den Takt wunderschön an und der Last. Man sieht mal komischerweise bis heute nicht fertig bekommen. Das ist ein spezieller Bereich auf der Grafikkarte und da werden die ganzen Pixel, breche ich hier mal ab, weil sonst schlaft ihr ein. So, jetzt wollte ich natürlich die Leistungsaufnahme. Richtige Flat Native gemessen. Das ist auf, so, ja, knapp 600 Watt. Das sind die Rails, das hier, was jede kleine dieser Spitzen, die ich hier sehe, jeder einzelne kleine Intervall, der dort hängt.
Washington's only remaining stepson, John, who had been serving in the war, died, likely from dysentery. His stepdaughter, Martha, had died when she was a teenager before the war began. But Washington was not childless. He returned home to Mount Vernon to at least 4 stepchildren a year before, after their own son had died. And they indeed took Herbert in like a son. And now I'm standing in front of Herbert's aunt and uncle's house, the home in which he lived during the local unionized workers. He and Lou gold mines. He learned Chinese history by this and, quote, racially inferior. Became an independent mining consultant and money handler, still based out of London. Hoover specialized in helping troubled mining operations, earning a reputation by this time as a, quote, doctor of sick minds. In the following years, he made investments on literally every continent and had offices or CRB. Hoover raised millions to provide food and medicine food administration. And Hoover ran it like a boss. Instead of rationing, Hoover called for set days for people to avoid eating certain foods to save those foods for American soldiers. For example, he's a big reason. Oh, and by this time, Hoover and his family had moved back to the United States, having places in both Washington, D.C. and Palo Alto. President Wilson even brought Hoover to Versailles for peace negotiations after the war and made him the Director General of the $270 million he's ever had. Yeah, man. While he was cool with government influencing business, again, he wanted it to be voluntary. Communicating with Congress, trying to pass effective legislation, and he had a hard time communicating with the general public when trying to ease anxieties. The worst law Hoover signed was arguably the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, which was supposed to encourage people to buy American-made stuff by placing tariffs and thus increasing the cost of imported stuff, including imported crops. Instead, it led to trading partners retaliating by raising their tariff rates and ultimately froze international trade, causing company sales to drop everywhere. Hoover, buddy, what were you thinking? Soon after the law passed, the banks began to fail. By the end of 1930, 300 had failed, and $550 million of deposits were gone. Poof. By the end of 1931,